Well, the UN's top court has dismissed a case brought by Sudan that alleged that the United Arab Emirates violated the Genocide Convention by supporting paramilitary forces in Sudan's Darfur region. The International Court of Justice said it did not have jurisdiction to take measures against the UAE. Sudan accused the UAE of arming the Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF, in its fight against the Sudanese army, the SAF. Well, the UAE said the ICJ's ruling was, quote, a clear and decisive affirmation of the fact that this case was utterly baseless. Well, I want to bring in the UAE's ambassador to the UN, Mohammed Abu Shahab, who joins me now live from New York. And I just want to get your response to this ruling. I mean, this has been effectively thrown out. No jurisdiction, says the ICJ. Were you expecting that, Ambassador?
Becky, thank you for having me. We were absolutely expecting it, and we welcome the result. This case should never have been brought before the case. The courts, removing it from the court's general list at this stage actually hasn't happened for the past 25 years. But sadly, Becky, this entire case is a distraction from the grave and catastrophic humanitarian situation that is unfolding in Sudan and that the Sudanese people have endured for the past 2 years. What we really should be focused on is getting a ceasefire that silences the guns and stops the killing, facilitating humanitarian aid to enter into Sudan and reach those who are desperately in need. And of course, we need a political process that restores a civilian-led government independent from military rule.
This ruling does not change the reality on the ground, unfortunately, to your point. The suffering continues for the people of Sudan. You've emphasised the urgent need for an immediate ceasefire. What steps will the UAE take to help achieve that, sir?
Well, we will continue to engage with international partners, and what we really need to move towards is a single, credible peace process. We cannot allow the warring parties to exploit fragmentation or multiple initiatives and have them forum shopping. What we need is a political process with the African Union and the United Nations at its center, and that will compel the warring parties to come to the negotiating table. Let's not forget, it's these warring parties that started this conflict in April 2023. It's these warring parties that had a military coup in 2021 that overthrew a civilian government. It's only these warring parties that will be able to end the suffering of the Sudanese people.
Right. But there have been great efforts, and those warring parties have not come to an agreement on stopping this fighting. You call for an immediate ceasefire, and there has been much effort to find that over the past year or a couple of years. We haven't got there. Donald Trump will be visiting the region a week from today. No indication that Sudan is playing high on his agenda. Without US involvement, do you worry about the possibility of getting to a ceasefire?
Becky, President Trump's visit to the region will be an opportunity to discuss issues of mutual interest, including bringing greater stability to our region. But the efforts on Sudan are actually global in nature, and there are international partners, as I said, both in Africa, in the United Nations, in Europe, who are engaged on this devastating conflict, and who are working to compel the warring parties to end the fighting and to allow humanitarian assistance to get in and to move us back to a political process that leads to a civilian government. This is what the Sudanese people want. And, there has to be accountability for the atrocities that are being committed on the ground. We will work, as I said, with our partners, both in the diplomatic efforts and in the meantime also on meeting the dire humanitarian needs of the Sudanese people.
I just want to get our viewers, finally, just a little more of the statement immediately in response to this ruling today from the UAE. Quote, "Quite simply, today's decision represents a resounding rejection of the Sudanese Armed Forces' attempt to instrumentalise the court for its campaign of misinformation and to distract from its own responsibility." It goes on to say, and I quote, "The facts speak for themselves. The UAE bears no responsibility for the conflict in Sudan. On the contrary, the atrocities committed by the warring parties are well documented." One of those warring parties, of course, is the RSF. The allegations over the past couple of years have been that since this war began, the UAE has been arming the RSF. So I give you the opportunity just, and we've had a number of conversations on CNN about this and what is going on the ground. Can I just get you to explain quite clearly then, from your perspective, what the relationship with the RSF is from the UAE's point of view?
Well, Becky, thank you for that, because, I've said this many times, and I think it's worth repeating. The UAE has not, does not, and will not support any warring party in Sudan's civil war. And in fact, the recently published UN Panel of Experts report made no findings against the UAE. What the Panel of Experts report did find is that the warring parties have committed atrocities on the ground, and that the SAF's indiscriminate airstrikes on civilians and civilian infrastructure amounts to war crimes. Now, this has been a part of a series of misuses of UN platforms, including here in the UN at the Security Council, where the SAF has propagated this baseless disinformation campaign that's really designed to distract from its own failures. And instead of diverting attention, the SAF really should focus on ending the suffering of the Sudanese people.
Ambassador, it's good to have you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, and we will be right back with more.